Have you ever heard a knock at your door late at night and felt a sudden, inexplicable dread? Imagine opening the door to see two children standing on your porch, heads bowed, their voices soft and polite, asking to come inside. As they look up, you see their faces are pale and expressionless, and their eyes are completely black, empty voids without sclero-iris. This is the story of the black-eyed children, one of the most chilling modern urban legends, and perhaps one of the strangest unexplained phenomena of the past 30 years. Accounts of these encounters have spread rapidly across the internet, but many researchers believe they began with a single incident in the 1990s. In 1996, journalist Brian Bethel posted a message online describing an unsettling experience that would ignite a wave of similar stories. Bethel was sitting in his car in Abilene, Texas, writing a check to drop off in a payment box when he was startled by a knock on the driver's side window. He looked up to see two boys, aged around 9 to 12, standing beside the car. They wore hooded sweatshirts and had a strange, almost unnatural calm about them. One of the boys began to speak. He asked if they could have a ride home to retrieve money so they could see a movie. Bethel felt an unexplainable wave of terror wash over him, though nothing about their appearance seemed immediately threatening. As he hesitated, the boy insisted they couldn't get in the car unless Bethel gave permission. That was when he noticed their eyes, solid black, with no whites at all. The darkness seemed to radiate out of their sockets, and he realized in that moment that he needed to leave immediately. He drove away, heart racing, glancing in the rearview mirror to see the boys had vanished. When Bethel shared his story, it spread quickly through forums and email chains. Soon, others began reporting their own encounters, describing nearly identical scenarios. Children with black eyes appearing late at night, speaking in monotone voices, requesting to come inside homes or vehicles. Many witnesses reported a profound sense of dread or impending doom, as if they were being drawn into something beyond their understanding. One of the most frequently reported details in these accounts is the insistence that the children must be invited in. Witnesses often describe an almost hypnotic quality to their voices. They feel compelled to comply, even as every instinct in their bodies screams at them to refuse. Some researchers have noted the similarity between this behavior and traditional folklore about vampires or other supernatural entities that require permission to cross a threshold. Stories of black-eyed children began to appear all over the United States and even in other countries. A woman in Vermont reported waking up to the sound of loud knocking on her front door. She looked outside to see two children standing in the snow. She felt uneasy, but opened the door slightly to ask if they needed help. The children said they were lost and needed to come inside to use the phone. As she hesitated, one of the children looked up, and she saw his black, featureless eyes. Overcome by terror, she slammed the door shut and called the police. When they arrived minutes later, the children were gone, with no footprints left in the fresh snow. Another account came from a man in Oregon who was driving home late one evening when he noticed a young girl standing by the side of the road. Thinking she might be in trouble, he pulled over and rolled down his window to ask if she needed help. Without responding, she walked toward the car and stopped inches from the open window. When she lifted her face, he saw her empty black eyes. She reached out to open the door, but he sped away before she could touch the handle. Later, he described feeling as if he had narrowly escaped something he could not explain. Skeptics argue that the black-eyed children phenomenon is a modern folklore meme, a story that spread virally because of its potent blend of innocence and horror. Some suggest it's a product of sleep paralysis or false memory, where ordinary children seen at night in low light are misremembered as more sinister figures. Others believe that the stories are simple hoaxes, fueled by online communities eager to outdo one another with terrifying tales. But there are those who take the reports seriously and propose more exotic explanations. Some researchers have connected black-eyed children to extraterrestrial beings or hybrids. The idea is that these entities mimic human children to appear less threatening but reveal their true nature through their unnatural eyes. Others think they could be manifestations of demonic forces, preying on the vulnerable and seeking invitation into homes as a means of crossing into our reality. One of the most compelling aspects of the phenomenon is how consistent the reports are. Despite coming from people who have never met each other and lived thousands of miles apart, witnesses often describe the same pale skin, monotone voices, and overwhelming feelings of dread. They also consistently report that the children speak with a formality that seems out of place, using phrases like "we won't hurt you" or "this will only take a moment." There is also the peculiar detail that the children often seem to travel in pairs, usually one older child and a younger companion. Some have speculated that this pairing is intentional, meant to disarm potential victims with the illusion of vulnerability. The older child often does the talking, while the younger one remains silent, staring with those black, soulless eyes. In one account from a rural town in Louisiana, a woman heard a tapping on her window around midnight. When she pulled back the curtain, she saw two children standing on her porch. They didn't move or react when she looked at them. Instead, the older child calmly said, "We are hungry. May we come in?" The woman felt a sudden nausea and an icy chill. She backed away from the window without responding. When she looked again moments later, the porch was empty. Some researchers have pointed out that the motif of black eyes has deep roots in horror culture and religious symbolism. In many traditions, the eyes are considered the windows to the soul. A creature with completely black eyes suggests not just an absence of humanity, but an absence of soul itself. It evokes something other, something that does not belong in the human world. The black-eyed children legend has inspired countless stories, videos, and even movies. It has become a staple of internet horror culture, shared across Reddit, YouTube, and paranormal blogs. Some believe the spread of these stories has created a kind of collective expectation, making people more likely to interpret strange encounters through the lens of the legend. But whether these accounts are real or not, the emotional impact is undeniable. Many witnesses describe being haunted for years by the memory of those black, empty eyes and the unsettling politeness of the children who wore them. Perhaps the most terrifying aspect of this phenomenon is the question it leaves behind. What would have happened if someone had said yes? What if they had invited the children inside? While most stories end with the witness fleeing or refusing, there are occasional reports of people who allowed the children to enter their homes. In those accounts, the witnesses often describe a sudden onset of illness, bad luck, or unexplainable phenomena that followed for months or even years. Some have claimed that simply talking about the black-eyed children can draw their attention, as if speaking their name is a form of invitation. Whether you believe that or not, the story persists and continues to grow, spreading like a modern curse through late-night conversations and shared posts. So the next time you hear a knock at your door after dark and you see two children standing silently outside, remember this story. Look closely at their eyes before you reach for the doorknob, and ask yourself if you really want to know what happens when you let them in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more true crime and horror stories every week. Let us know in the comments. Have you ever encountered the black-eyed children, or do you think they're just an urban legend? Thanks for watching, and remember, some doors should never be opened.